I go into the washroom. My heart is beating fast. I go into the washroom and I'm washing my arms. I don't know the reaction of my brother, how he's going to react about my video. I told him that my video was so good, you should check it out. And I went to make wudu and I'm nervous. What is he gonna think? What's gonna happen? What is he gonna say? I finally quickly wash my feet and then I come outside. I wear my slippers and I look up and he says, it was a pretty freaking hot video. Great storytelling. W storytelling. He always complimented my storytelling. And after some learning, I'm going to share you how I story tell like a W, like a pro, like a magician or like a comedian, you could say. And I'm not like a comedian, but like how I story tell. I'm gonna give you some tips that are going to help you become a storyteller like me. So let's move on to the first tip. The first tip is telling detailed stories. You need to learn to tell detailed stories. Now, most of us just tell like basic stories, like just at the tip. We're like, for this video, I'm gonna use this one story of me playing chess with my brother, right? So instead of saying, I played chess with my brother and he beat me, right? Don't say that. You have to add depth into the story. Whatever depth you can add is the best. But don't extend your story so long. Extend it to like 1 to 4 minutes. That's the best and like max time you should go to. 5 minutes and then it gets a little bit boring, right? So your first step is to tell detailed stories. And for example, I'm going to say, I'm sitting on the chair. I'm leaning forward. My hand is on top of the pawn. And I'm about to move it to e4. My brother brings his bishop and gives a check. My heart goes high for a minute. You see how I'm telling that? Like, there's detail. Instead of saying, I play my brother, oh, I move my pawn and blah, 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 and he finished me, yeah. Instead of saying that, bro, add a lot of detail. Add detail. When you add detail, it really takes the person into that place. It really gives a feeling of a story, of something that actually happened, of like, because you're telling it so vividly. It actually happened. So now they're interested in the type of detail because they never hear this sort of stories. Everyone has stopped hearing this sort of stories. Like, oh, yesterday, like, I went and there's like a honeybee who stung me. That's how everybody tells. So when they hear this type of story, they're actually hooked. And this is sort of your hook. Your story is your hook. Right? So your stories have to be detailed in order for you to actually tell stories. Don't tell stories simply. Tell them detailed. That is the first point, right? Let's move on to the second point. All right, this second step is like the most important, I could say. Like, this is the thing, this is the step that really stands out my storytelling. And like, what's gonna stand out your storytelling? It's really distinct, right? So, this is starting in the middle of the story, in the climax of the story. This is really, really, really important because this is gonna hook your viewer, bro. Your viewer is gonna be hooked like he's gonna be insanely hooked. Insanely hooked. So what are you going to do is that For example, instead of saying like I coached this guy about storytelling, and he also started with stories like I remember. See, it's such a boring style. I remember on this day, my friend, I came up to him and he punched me. No, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Instead of that, say, I remember, cut that out. Cut I remember out. It's not a really like catchy phrase now. Like it moves on to like the boring style. Oh yeah, you're gonna tell the story. Like everybody wants to skip that story, but you don't want that with your story. You want people to actually watch your story and then go to your advice. Because then there's no point of telling stories if people are just gonna skip that part. So start in the middle and the climax of the story. So I'll tell you this in the chess story. Instead of saying, I remember on June 3rd, 2022, the door was open, it was a rainy day, it was breezy, and my brother and I were playing chess and blah blah blah, I don't know what. This is the most boring story. Never tell a story like this. I'm telling you, avoid this. It's extremely boring, right? What you're going to do instead is that you're going to say, my queen is trapped. The cold breeze hit my face. My queen is trapped on the chessboard, the bishop on the side, and the knight on the other side. My queen is gone. I fell into a fork. At that point, my senses, everything were gone. I couldn't believe that I was getting beaten by like a 100 elo. You see that? I just started in the climax of the story where my queen was stuck. That was the most climax part. Always tell the most intense, the most climax part of your story, where your feelings and emotions are insane, they're rushing. Always tell that part. That's actually starting from the climax of the story. And if you do this part, it's going to be insane how you're going to transform your storytelling. Because nowadays, people just start, bro. Like, 2 days ago, 2 days ago, I saw this cat and she was so fat and like, oh, I don't know, like there were kittens with her or something like that. Nobody wants to hear those stories. If you really want to take attention from people by telling stories, then this is the best way. Starting at the climax of the story, because you first of all you're already telling the story in detail. And when you start in the middle, like at the top, like most top, at the peak, then they'll actually get interested. They'll actually look at you and say, well, I'm curious, what is it, right? The curiosity. Curiosity is really you could say the goal or key over here, because when you create curiosity, everybody's gonna get hooked. They're gonna say, oh, I'm curious what he's gonna say. What is his answer? Like, what's he about to tell? Like, what's the story? Like, everything like that, you know? Curiosity is the key over here. Alright, now let's move on to the third point, and that is taking your viewers or the listeners onto a journey of expressions. Alright. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your viewers or the people who you're telling your story to into a journey, a flow of expressions. So what are you going to do is that when you start in the middle of the story and you're already telling details, then now you're going to tell your feelings in that story. Or tell the feelings, or if you have others in your story, tell their feelings. Tell their feelings of what you think they're feeling, right? So what are you going to do is that start in the middle of the story, Let's say my queen is trapped. My heart is beating. Literally, my heart is beating. I don't know what I was doing. You're going to like, you're going to be heart beating, and you're gonna be anxious, you're gonna be stressful, like you're gonna bring every expression. The more expression that you give them, the more they'll be on this journey, on the storytelling with you. So when you're gonna say my queen was in a fork, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. Your storytelling's gonna be bland. It's like eating pancake without syrup. That's what it is. That's what your story is gonna be like when you don't tell the expressions. My queen was trapped. I did not know what to do. So I just sacrificed my queen. It looks so bland. It looks insanely bland. But when you add, my queen was trapped from both sides, my heart raised. The arrogance raised. The anxiety and stress raised. The anger rose a little bit, a little bit. My hand is just on top of my queen. I don't know what to do. I'm honestly feeling pretty jealous, pretty nervous. I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. My hand is on top of my queen. I look up and I look at my brother. He's smiling with happiness. His heart is jumping up and down. He's so happy. But I over here go through a emotion distress. I can't believe I'm getting beaten by a total beginner who I taught chess. The jealousy, the arrogance, it all rose. And in that jealousy and arrogance, I move my queen in the wrong move. I hold my head like this and I feel myself like stupid because the arrogance got to me. You see that? You see that? How the journey goes. Like it's like a literal flow when you tell them the expressions, when you tell them, when you take them on this expression. But the next tip I'm about to give you, oh, it's pretty freaking powerful, bro. Use the word imagine. These 4 steps are the key, are the literal key to your storytelling, bro. But after that, I'm going to tell you some other steps, so listen to that, right? Use imagine in your stories. So when you take them on the journey of expression, like I just did, and in that arrogance, I lost my queen. After this, after you tell what had happened with you and with the expressions, you're going to tell them, just imagine that this happened with you. Just imagine. Just think for a second and imagine. You see that? And when you say imagine, what you're going to tell them is the expression of that imagination. Imagine you're sitting and your queen is in a fork by a beginner. Let's see, Levi Roseman, Gotham Chess, has forked his queen, has got his queen forked by a 10-year-old. Let's say that. Imagine you're in his position. That's how I felt. And imagine like that urge to like kick the chess, like slap the chessboard and like that anxious feeling, that arrogance, like that stress. And seeing that person smile when you taught him chess. Like when you use the word imagine and then tell the expressions of that imagination, then it's all done. Then like your story is gonna be amazing. Your story is gonna be truly be amazing. So I'll tell you this story, right? I'll tell you a story about this chess. Like the whole video I've been talking about the chess thing, I'll actually tell the story. My queen is forked from both sides. The knight and the bishop. They're both going to kill the queen. If I kill one, then the other. If I kill the other, then the other. He's gonna kill my queen. My queen has felt into a trap. It has felt into a fork, a trap that I couldn't see because I was taking my opponent too easy. At that moment, my heartbeat rose. I leaned forward and I looked at the chessboard more carefully. I concentrated. My heart was beating. I was stressed out. I was anxious. I couldn't believe that a beginner could do this to me. I was turning arrogant. I was saying, no, this is not gonna happen. And with that arrogance, my anger also rose. No, I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm not gonna let that happen to me. And what do? I make the wrong move in arrogance. And my brother takes my queen. He takes it and he puts it at the side of the table. And that bang on the side of the table, that bang of my queen hits my heart and I turn really angry. I can't believe this can be happening. No, I cannot. The arrogance, the anger, it's all going all together. Just imagine you in this position. You're feeling, you're Levy Roseman and you're gonna get beaten by a 10-year-old. Just imagine that. Isn't that shameful? Isn't that extremely shameful? Isn't that like killing your pride? Like, imagine your heartbeat rising to your queen in a fork. Just imagine, bro. You feel this urge to like do something, but you've lost to a beginner. You see that? That is the story of the 4 steps. I could have told it in more detail, but like I didn't. Like, you should tell the stories in detail, but like as much detail as you can add, do it, but do it to a certain extent. Don't actually extend it too long. Your story should be 1 minute to 4 minute long. 3 to 4 minutes is like the ideal time, and that's how long they should be. So don't add too much detail to the point where it gets boring, right? Add minimum detail, add like perfect, like in the middle detail, right? Now the next point I'm about to tell you is polarizing through rants. Now this, you can't really say like this is a part of the story, but you could definitely say this is like the part of the journey that you're taking your viewers to, right? So what you're going to do in this polarizing through rants, as I've just told this story, just imagine that this happened to you, blah, 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 this I told. But that's how you're going to act. You loser. You freaking loser. You're never gonna win chess. You think you can beat a beginner? You're 1 elo, bro. That's the next step. And that is literally disrespecting your player. What am I doing, bro? I'm so like roaming around in chess. You're basically going to disrespect in a very light way. You're going to disrespect the viewer in a very light way. A light way, like a very light way. Don't like go, like don't disrespect him, but like take out, how do I say this? Don't disrespect him, but tell him about the bad things. Tell him about all his bad things. So polarizing through rants is basically just 2 extreme ends. It's the good and it's the bad. You want to be at the extreme ends, right? So what you're going to do is that you're going to be like, you're never going to win chess. You're never gonna win chess. You're never gonna do it. You're a loser. You're a sole loser. You're gonna quit. You see, I'm going to the extreme end. I'm becoming bad. I'm really insulting him. This is polarizing through rants. Right? So what are you going to do is that you suck. You're never gonna do this. You're never gonna do that. But then what you're going to do is you're going to actually, and this is the next step, you're actually going to relate to him. I was just like you. I was like bad. I was absolute at chess, and I couldn't play, and I was trash like you. Right? And then you move on to tell the tips of your video. But at the end of the video, you show your care. You show your care. And when you show your care, that's when he sort of he sort of calms down. So what you're going to do is that you're going to insult him, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, then you're going to relate. But then you're going to tell him the tips and the mistakes of the people. And then the people on this side, the good side, they're going to be like, whoa, yeah, actually, bro, like, he's telling the truth, he's telling such a truth. And this way you're going to create haters and lovers. Remember, we need haters and lovers both, right? But at the end of the video, what you're going to do is that you're going to actually relate to that guy. You're actually going to relate to your viewer. You're actually going to take care of your viewer. You're actually going to show care at the end of the video. You're going to show care that, it's fine, like, I'm trying to help you. You just need to understand, like, compensate in a way. Be nice, return nice. And tell them the mistakes that you made and, like, it's no problem, don't worry. Like, it's hard, I know. Tell them a little bit, care a little bit, and then bye. That's it. And that's basically going to be your whole journey from storytelling to the end of your video, right? So let's recap everything. First, tell detailed stories. Remember to tell your stories a lot more detailed. Don't just say, oh, I play chess and you beat me, right? Don't do that. Tell a lot more detail. But don't go too much with the detail that it starts to become boring. Stay in the middle, right? Then take them on a journey. Starting the climax of the journey, of the story. So what you're going to do is that you're basically going to start at the peak, the most intense part of the story. The most intense, the most peak, the most highest part of the story where the most feelings and expressions and emotions are rushing, thoughts are rushing, and you just don't know what to do. And that's the most climax part of which you should start your story from, because it creates curiosity, and remember, curiosity is the key. Then take them on a journey of expressions. Tell them feelings without the story, without the expressions and feelings. Your story is just going to be like pancake without syrup, right? So do that. After telling your expressions, tell them imagine and take them into the same state as you were, and tell them to imagine that you are in this state, and then tell them the expressions of that imaginative state, right? So they're going to be super into this. Then you're going to polarize the rants, basically the extreme ends, the good and the bad. Insult him, then say that you're going to relate to him, then tell your tips. And then when you're going to tell your tips, and you're going to be some people that are going to be like, yeah, you're completely right, yeah, bro, I get it, like, that trip is trash, like, I really like this guy, like, you're going to create haters and lovers, and we need both of them. But at the end of the video, you're going to show care. You're going to care. You're going to care for the people. You're going to say, yeah, I know it's tough and hard. You just got to put some dedication. Don't act like a pussy and everything like that. Blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to say bye. That is the full storytelling guide. The first 4 tips were the most useful. The next ones were just like sort of an add-up. But like that's how you tell stories like a pro. I hope this video helped. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.